I always forget to unmute the mic. I apologize for that. Good morning, everyone. I'm Donna Goodwin. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator located in Brookings, South Dakota. This morning, we're going to do this fun, here we go. We're going to do this fun card using vellum, and it's hard to see in this camera angle, but I'll show you in a different camera angle. We're going to emboss on wax paper today. Last week, I did this. Oh, again, the lighting's always strange when I'm trying to put a card up. We did this one where we did masking and reverse masking. And during the live, this card went out to Linnell. And for the replays, it's going out to Eileen. So congratulations, ladies. I'm going to switch cameras so we can get started on this card. Oh, wrong one. There we go. Okay. I'll get this all figured out eventually. So the lighting is a little difficult today, and this is a light colored card. So let's see if we can kind of mute it up. You can barely see some background in here, and this is from embossing with wax paper, and then we're going to actually iron and transfer that embossed image onto the cardstock. It's really a lot of fun, and it's really super easy. And I also have some other samples to show you later in the video, in the live stream, showing you some different ideas. So good morning, Lori. Welcome. If you're joining us on can't talk this morning, on replay, welcome as well. I realize that the majority of you do join on replay after the video is done, or after the live stream is done. I chose today, I'm going to demonstrate this one. It's Happy Zesty Birthday. It's got some oranges and some pretty yellow. Good morning, Mary. And I just think it's a nice springy color. And then on the inside, I haven't put a sentiment on the inside because I'm not sure who I'm going to send it to. I just brought an orange slice in from the beginning. So I'm going to set this up here real quick in the corner. I chose to use the Sweet Citrus stamp set, and it comes with a matching embossing folder that we're going to use, and it also comes with some dies. And those dies cut out these oranges or grapefruits, lemons, limes. I've even seen people do them with coconuts. So good morning, Irene. So we're going to use our rinds, and we're going to use our fruit flesh, and then we're going to use Have a Zesty Birthday. For this background piece to put my give my oranges something to set on, this is from the Scalloped Contours dies, and it's just this size right here. And I'm just going to set all of this aside somewhere. You won't need to write the measurements down because they are in the description. I'm choosing Lemon Lolly. It's one of our new core colors. It's just this really pretty, nice, crisp, but soft yellow. It's 5.5 inches by 8.5 inches, scored in the middle at 4 1/4. Give it a good crease with my bone folder and set it aside for later. You're going to want to use white when you're doing this technique. So I'm going to bring in 2 sheets of basic white that measure 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. This piece here, it's about 2.5 inches by about 3 3/4 inches, but whatever size you need to cut whatever you're going to use as your little background piece. I'm going to set that aside. And then you'll need another piece that measures big enough to do your orange slices. And this is actually the same size because I didn't bother to cut it down. But if you want to cut your pieces down, about 3 3/4 inches by 4. So I'm going to set that aside because we'll be working with that later. And then I'm going to embellish our card with the iridescent pastels. It's got this nice, I believe they're supposed to be Calypso coral, but they look orange when they're on the card, and I thought they work nice with our oranges. So I'm going to set those aside. And then you need some wax paper. And just bring in some wax paper from the kitchen. Don't forget to ask your questions so later when we get to questions and answers, you can I can answer those for you. I've cut my piece down to 4¼ inches by 5½ inches. It's much larger than what I'm going to need, but then it'll definitely cover the whole piece that we're going to add this to. So I'm going to set those aside, set this aside. So the first thing you need to do is pick an embossing folder. And I'm going to use the citrus folder. And you're just going to put your wax paper. It doesn't have to be a 3D folder either. You're just going to put your wax paper inside this folder. Then, depending on your die cutting machine and embossing machine, if you're using the Stampin' Up! Machine, this is a 3D folder. So it calls for base plate 1, your embossing folder with your cardstock inside, and base 4 on top of it. What I want you to do if you're using a different machine is do whatever sandwich your particular folder calls for and bring in a cardstock shim. I'm using the thick basic white. Then you're going to run this through the machine. You need that piece of cardstock shim. Whoa. There we go. You need this piece of cardstock shim because the wax paper is much thinner than cardstock. So we're going to run this through the embossing machine. And then we get a piece of wax paper that's been embossed. And you can see how translucent that is. To give you some reference point, this is the same folder embossed in vellum. So you can see how transparent wax paper is. So let's say that you are getting ready to start some projects and you're doing some multiples and you go for your vellum and you're like, uh-oh, I don't have enough vellum. Substitute some wax paper. It's a little bit more transparent and it's kind of like working with tissue paper almost. Now I'm going to go ahead and reach back here real quick and turn on my iron. So that while I'm chit-chatting, it can warm up. You need 2 pieces of cardstock, one behind and one in front. And you'll put one on top, one below, and you need a piece of copy paper. And you're going to put those in between the copy paper. And this is so that when you're ironing this, you don't get this wax buildup all over your iron. Okay. So while we're waiting for the iron to warm up, let's go ahead and stamp our oranges. I'm going to stamp these oranges in pumpkin pie. I'm going to bring in a piece of scrap paper. It doesn't matter if you stamp the rinds first or the flesh first, whatever you prefer. So I'm going to stamp my rinds in full strength. And then I'm going to stamp off with my fruit flesh. And we should be bringing in a thick mat. I always forget because my desk is padded. So we're going to stamp off so that we can do second generation. And we have our oranges. I'd run those through the die cutting machine. Of course, I have already done an extra piece to save a little bit of time. Oh, our inside. Have to do our inside. Almost forgot. So I'm going to re-ink this. I'm really only focused on the large orange. And I'm going to stamp this down in the corner. And the same thing with the flesh. I'm really only interested in the large orange, or the large slice, I guess I should say. We'll stamp off again. There we go. So we have our inside. Move this out of the way and move these out of the way. Now, since I'm working up here on my desk and I don't want to melt my cover, if you were doing this at home, you'd probably be bringing out your ironing board if you have one, if you still even have an iron. A travel iron would be perfect for this. I'm not even sure we can find travel irons. So this is just an old dish towel that I use in the craft room, and it gets all inky. And I'm just going to take my iron and I'm going to iron over this. I'm going to flip it over and get some heat on the other side as well. So put some heat here. If you're enjoying this, please do like, comment, and share. And please do ask me questions. I like questions. So I'm going to open this up. Now you're not going to be able to see in camera, and even here it's really hard to see that there's a wax impression here, but trust me, there is. And then you can save this piece and use it on a card, which I'm going to show you a sample later where I took this leftover piece and used it on a card. So I'm going to bring in that scrap because I'm about to make a big mess. I'm going to bring in Lemon Lolly and a blending brush, and I'm going to start blending over this, and you're going to start seeing that resist come up. So it's like Emboss Resist, except we're not using embossing powder. I should have done a card that uses a darker color, but I have some samples with a darker color, so you'll really be able to see it pop then. And so you can see here, you can barely see it. It's very, very subtle, but there is some design in here, and it's totally smooth. It doesn't have an embossed raised side like you're used to seeing with if we were to run this through cardstock through the embossed folder. So I have my oranges. You know, let's go ahead and stamp our little banner. My banner measures 3 3/4 inches by 3, or measures 3/4 of an inch by 3. And I'm going to stamp that in Granny Apple Green. I felt that we needed something to break up a little bit of this light orange and light yellow. So we'll stamp Have a Zesty Birthday. That's pretty light. I think it's time to re-ink my ink pad. I'm just going to go ahead and give this a little bit of an angle. We could put it through and notch it, but sometimes it's fun just to have a little bit of an angle. And because I'm adding in this strip of green, I'm going to cut this piece down to 3 3/4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. And see, you can actually see the pattern a little bit better on this one because it's had a few days to dry. And it's not that the ink on this one is wet. It just sometimes takes, and I probably applied more yellow on this one to make it really stand out. So I'm just going to bring in a strip of Granny Apple just to break up the yellow on yellow a bit. Good morning, Patty. Wow, that's a brand new bottle. That's got a lot of glue on it. So I'm just going to give myself a little bit of green here. And we'll go ahead and put this on our card front. I can't wait to show you the other samples that I made. I'm going to pop this piece up with dimensionals. Now I'm going to go ahead and put some on either side as well. I can't talk this morning. I keep dropping everything. Must be a Monday. And we'll just put this, I don't know, right about there. I'm going to go ahead and glue these different pieces together here. And then when I pop them up, I can pop them up as one piece. And we'll put some dimensionals on these. And glue this one down flat. And then on this one, I'll put a little dimensional. I'll put one dimensional over here, and I'll glue this side down flat, as this side's already been popped up twice. Bring in some iridescent gems with my favorite Take Your Pick tool. And that's how fast and easy you can do this embossing on with wax paper to give you that emboss resist look. So here's a couple other pieces. This one I used the Elegant Eucalyptus embossing folder and Pretty Peacock, or no, Lost Lagoon. Did that with Lost Lagoon. And that gave me this card when I put it together, just a simple thanks card. So it just gives you, it really looks like some type of pretty patterned paper since you don't have that raised effect with that when you're using the wax paper. This one is with the quintifoil, oh, I can't pronounce it. Anyway, it's with a really nice folder. And I sponged over this with Misty Moonlight, and it reminds me of old wallpaper. But when you add it in with the Cheerful Daisies, then you get a really pretty card on this one. Wow, lighting is just terrible today. For the daisies, I used the die cut that has the big 3-piece daisies and leaves with it. And then I just simply took the soft pastels and put some pastel colors on it. I broke up the You Make My Day. It's one long stamp. I broke it up so that it was on there. And I brought in some of the 2023 to 2025 in color glossy dots. And then Your Friendship Means Everything to Me. And then I also told you that I used the wax paper after it had been ironed, so it's a little bit flatter, and it is definitely thin like tissue paper, but I cut it down and used it as a layer on this Sweet Limes card. It says thank you a bunch, and I did a lot of layering up with the dies and the leaves on this card. So, but I like how the wax paper, like vellum, tones down this really bright lemon lime green. And then on the inside, I just added some lemons. So these are the cards I did with the wax paper technique. So I hope you really enjoyed these. I'll get to questions and comments here in just a second, because I'm going to take a moment to do a little shameless self-promotion. I do cards if you're local to me here in the Brookings, South Dakota area. I do classes here at the house. Every Wednesday, I do a craft and chat where we do just one card. So it's great if you have a little bit of time or you'd like to spend a little more time focusing on one card at a time. This is done with the Calm and Quiet Host set. And so if you really like coloring, this Wednesday's class, this would be perfect for you. Sign up for this is by the end of today. And you can find a link in the description called calendar, and it'll take you out to those where you can register for that. Next Tuesday is my monthly class where we do 3 cards in that class. And these are the 3 cards that we're going to do next Tuesday for the month of May. So now that I'm done with self-promotion, you can find me anywhere you like at wingedhorsedesigns.com. I'm on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. I'm at all those locations. So if you have questions, please do put those up and we'll start getting to those. So let's see. Lori is here. Mary is here. Irene is here. Lori must really like this embossing on wax paper. Patty is here. Sherry caught me live. Wow, a lot of you caught me live today. That's wonderful. And Paula says, love when I add color strip on the card, adds so much. It does, just that little tiny piece. Plus it uses up all those little strips that we always have left over from cutting our cardstock for other projects. Oh no, lots of lagging there. Tech on a Monday morning. It could be The streaming service I use is actually in the cloud. It's not dependent on the speed of my computer. So it could be the internet wherever you're at, or the internet where this streaming platform is. Irma says, good morning, everyone. Good morning. And she likes the cards, beautiful cards. Thank you. And Christine thinks that this is a really cool technique. So I don't see any questions yet, which means it's time to queue up my giveaway tool. And that is a part of the streaming platform that I use. See, what I need is behind the camera, and I can't see where I'm going here. I want this. Nope, not that one. I'll find it. Oh, that is the one I want. I just need to do my screen share. That's what's wrong. I didn't cue that up before I started. Shame on me. There we go. So there's 8 of you out here watching me, so I'm going to go ahead and let that go, and we'll find out who's going to get today's zesty birthday card. Whoops, did it stop? I didn't stop sharing. There, it's still going. There we go. Okay, congratulations, Irene. Wait a minute, didn't Irene? No, she didn't get last week. That was Linnell. She got like a week, 2 weeks ago. Lucky, lucky lady. You know, the giveaway tool's kind of like all those random, I hate to use the word IRS, but it's kind of like those. It's like when your number pops up, and it pops up over and over and over again. And then you disappear and somebody else pops up over and over and over again. So welcome. Congratulations, Irene. If you're watching me on replay, thank you. Please do like, comment, and share this with your friends if you're enjoying it. Friday, I am going to use embossing folders again with my uploaded video, and I'm going to emboss with foam. So we're going to use those adhesive foams. You could use fun foam if you don't have the adhesive foams. That works as well too. So look for that on Friday. Next Monday, we're going to do some cards with alcohol techniques, alcohol background type techniques. So have a wonderful week, everyone. I will see you next Monday, 10 a.m. Happy trails.